sexual disorder, or HSD, is defined like the persistent or recurrent deficiency of sexual fantasy through desires for or receptivity to sexual activity which causes a personal distress. This is a define of the American Psychiatric Association. So based on that, our objective was to compare the results from the quality of life from the Afro-descendant women with HSD with indigenous women with HSD. So this is a cross-sectional study carried out in women health 40 to 59 years from two specific populations from Colombia: indigenous from the Salud ethnics and black from the Afro-descendants Caribbean women. This is a part of project CABINEC, Calidad de Vida en la Menopausia de Etnias Colombianas, and their visits were carried out by trained posters from seeking satisfying inclusion criteria for this woman. So the women that want to be part for the project, they answered a questionnaire with socio-demographic data, menopause rating scale, and female sexual function index. This is the female sexual function index. It's on 18 items. Self-reporting short of sexual functions with subscales, seat, desire, arousal, lubrication, organ satisfaction, and pain. So we want to know the HSD, so we must assume it item 1 and 2. The results left or equal 5, it was considered the presence of the HSD. This is the menopause rating scale. It's a self-report about quality instruments, and it wants to be validated and translated in several languages. This scale determines the presence and intensity of the 11 items or symptoms for the menopause. It has been divided in 3 sub-scales: somatic, psychological, and urogenital, and with each item specific for every domain. So each item can be graded by the subject from 0, not present, to 4, very severe. And with the sum of each item, we can obtain a sub-scale score. So a cut point from more 8 from somatic, and psychological more 6, and urogenital more 3, it's considered a severe impairment of each domain. But in quality of life, we must assume of this sub-scale score. More 16, it's considered severe deterioration of quality of life. This is the results. We have 1121 women with the inclusion criteria. 56% were Afro and 43% were indigenous. Only 32% of the Afro had HSD, but 44% of indigenous had the desire. When we compared, we obtained odds rate 1.6. That means to be indigenous increase the risk to present HSD compared with the Afro. In this table, I showed you the most important socio-demographic data. Mean age of Afro was 49 and indigenous was 59 million. In the climateric, the perimenopause was in 21% from the Afro and 9% from the indigenous. 82% of the indigenous say never smoked, and the BMI from Afro was in overweight. In this second table, I showed you that of 11 items, only 2 have statistically significant heart discomfort and dryness of the vagina. But in age, on all over, indigenous had a higher mean age. In this second graphic, I showed you the deterioration of each domain. We saw that indigenous had in somatic and urogenital more impairment, but even in quality of life, but that was not statistically significant. But when we is looking for the severe deterioration of the mind and quality of life, we found that indigenous had severe deterioration of each domain and severe deterioration of quality of life. Yeah, but mainly, but severe deterioration of quality of urogenital domain. So the conclusions: indigenous women had more impairment of somatic and urogenital domain and quality of life, but there was not statistically significant. But 36% of indigenous women had severe deterioration of quality of life, mainly by severe deterioration of the urogenital domain. It was a p-value. And indigenous had 2 times more risk than Afro-descendants with HSD to present severe impairment of quality of life and with urogenital domain. And this is our website if you want to look. Thank you.
Any questions from the audience? Can I have a question? Do you have an explanation why there is a difference in these women, although not statistical, but the indigenous women had a higher percentage of the hypersexual disorder? Do you have an explanation why the quality of life and the hypersexual disorder was higher?
Well, we found that there was a statistically significance. In severe deterioration in indigenous. And we found another study that confirmed that hypothesis that I am shocked by the time that my partner showed that results that it was consistently with death. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.